Every omelet served in Singapore Airlines economy class is prepared on this rotating table. Anthony tells us, we're producing here 6,000, 7,000 omelets per day minimum. In this type of catering facility, chefs cook all the main dishes for almost 20 million passengers annually, operating 24/7, 365 days a year. It's truly non-stop. The man behind the meals. That's Anthony, who oversees the entire catering operation, managing a $500 million food shopping budget each year. He explains, so it's quite substantial amount of product. His kitchen produces 168,000 lobster tails monthly and more than 1 million pounds of rice every year. However, even the most expensive meals don't always taste the same once in the sky. Historically, flavors could change due to conditions inside a plane, a problem aircraft manufacturers and airlines have tried to solve for decades. Anthony says, just do one last taste. The logistical challenge. Catering facilities like this one face a major logistical challenge: how to prepare 50,000 delicious meals daily under immense time pressure. It's literally clockwork. These meals, just like us, cannot miss their flight. Anthony emphasizes, the plane is ready, you need to be ready. So, how does Singapore Airlines manage to serve so much food in time for takeoff? Where Singapore Airlines in-flight meals are made. This is Singapore Airlines' largest catering facility, located within Changi Airport. It's operated by SATS, the airline's catering partner. While SATS provides food for 45 other carriers, Singapore Airlines is by far its biggest client. Anthony notes that SIA, to be frank, is a very demanding customer. Menu development and variety. Anthony collaborates with SATS to develop hundreds of new menus each year, with a single dish taking 9 to 12 months to create. He points out, there's different menus flying in different directions, and different cuisine types: Japanese, Chinese, Singaporean, and obviously Western meals. The airline offers menus from 77 different departure cities. So, if you're departing from Singapore, you might be offered chicken and rice or a hawker soup. If you're leaving New York City, you'll receive a smoked trout salad. The food also varies depending on your cabin class. In first-class suites, passengers have the most options, ranging from caviar and lobster thermidor to beef tenderloin. In economy, flyers have only a couple of choices, such as spicy fish with blue rice, because these are cooked in larger batches. Regardless of the cabin, chefs aim to include a protein, vegetable, starch, and a sauce in each dish. How in-flight meals are cooked. Before cooking begins, everyone must suit up. They wash their hands thoroughly and step into an air shower to remove hair, dust, and anything which may provide opportunity inside the facility for contamination, as Anthony explains. SATS employs a team of over 1,000 chefs, handling a vast amount of food. Go states, easily, one day, we can have about 800 to 1,000 menus running. Meals are typically started 24 to 36 hours before a scheduled flight, with the process divided into various stations. Anthony likens it to a restaurant. You have a salad section, you have a dessert section, you have a hot kitchen. This is just on a much larger scale. In the premium kitchen, they grill meats like filet mignon for first and business class. Anthony explains that they cook the meal about 30%, 40%. If the meat were fully cooked now, it would be overcooked by the time it reaches the plane, so flight attendants finish the cooking in the air by applying residual heat of about 150 to 160 degrees in our aircraft ovens. Batch cooking and food safety. In the hot kitchen, cooks handle all the hot food for first, economy, and business class, including vegetables, pasta noodles, rice noodles, hot meals, soups, and sauces. This is significant batch cooking. Noodles are boiled in enormous vats, and tomato sauce has its own tank, dispensed into cooling trays from the bottom. As with the meat, chefs don't fully cook everything. Anthony clarifies, so a lot of these are what we call 50%, 60% finished. Even vegetables are cooked a little bit like a pasta. We want it to be al dente. He demonstrates, so you can see there, it has a little bit of firmness, a little bit of bite. So if we crack, if we break that, we still get some snap. As the food cools, it continues to cook until it reaches the required core temperature for food safety. Every tray receives a tracking label, allowing the airline to trace any food sickness issues back to the specific batch. They also maintain the integrity and the color of the leaf green by cooking it in 100-degree water for the shortest possible time. Chilling and assembly. Once the food comes off the heat, it immediately goes down a conveyor belt to the blast chiller, stopping the cooking process. Some items, however, are cooked completely, like the omelets on the rotating table. The eggs arrive pre-cracked in a liquid mixture, and a pump dispenses the perfect amount into each pan. Chefs positioned around the table cook, flip, fold, and stack every omelet. Anthony states, we're producing here 6,000, 7,000 omelets per day minimum. So omelets is mostly for the economy kitchen. After all the elements are mostly cooked, they head to the casserole assembly for economy meals and also business class and some first class meals, as Anthony calls it. Here, they pack all the food into the foil containers you see on flights. Anthony explains that from the moment meal components are taken from the fridge, within 45 minutes, they have to have put the meal into the tray. Anthony provides chefs with photos demonstrating how each dish should look, and flight attendants receive similar pictures for plating consistency. Because we have around 6,500, 7,000 cabin crew, and there's only one of me, I can't be every day at the training college training the cabin crew. So we do this for consistency. Workers sequentially add starches, sauces, meats, and vegetables. The pasta we saw cooking earlier is also added. Each gets a foil topper and is then moved into a holding fridge. Anthony describes it as a little bit like a supermarket where you pick and mix. Desserts are assembled in a separate room. Today, they're preparing floating islands, a meringue suspended in creme anglaise. Why food tastes different on planes? These dishes look great on the ground, but there's a significant issue. Food can taste different in the air. On some planes, your taste buds are about 30% less sensitive to sweet and salty foods due to pressure, dryness, and engine noise. In older 777s and A320s, the cabin is pressurized to about 8,000 feet, making it feel like you're eating lunch on Machu Picchu. Onboard humidity can be as low as 12%, drier than some deserts. With a dry mouth and a diminished sense of smell, foods can seem twice as bland. Historically, this meant airlines added extra salt to make food palatable, sometimes leaving passengers feeling bloated. Modern aircraft in taste. However, new planes feature improved cabin conditions. In the A350s, A380s, and 787s that Singapore Airlines operates, cabins are pressurized up to 6,000 feet. This means it feels more like eating dinner in Denver than on Machu Picchu. Also, because newer planes are made of more carbon fiber, humidity can be increased to about 24%. Anthony notes, when you have more moisture in the cabin space, your sinuses and your body is not dehydrating as quickly, and your taste and your palate is not as influenced. This allows flyers to taste much more these days, making it easier for chefs like Anthony, who doesn't need to add additional salt, pepper. No additional salt. The challenge of reheating. The final hurdle is reheating the food, as flight attendants only have small ovens on board. How do chefs ensure the food still tastes good? Cooking halfway and moving quickly helps, and they avoid dishes that don't travel well. We try not to do things that are deep fried, for example. Chicken wings, it doesn't stay crispy, and none of us really like to bite into soft French fries. They also steer clear of thin fish, like sea bass. A fish that is a bit thicker, a cod, a salmon, they stand up much better to, in-flight experience. Assembly and loading. After all the meals are assembled, the food finally meets the carts you see on board. Anthony shows us the tray assembly area. Elevators bring cleaning trays, cutlery, and dishes upstairs. When asked if it's the silverware elevator, Anthony responds, yeah. It's like a deluxe ride for your cutlery. Chefs work on an assembly line, picking and placing all the napkins, all the porcelain, the linenware, the knives, forks, everything right through to the salt and pepper shakers and the butter portions. This is a dinner service for business class, Anthony explains, and then they'll put the appetizer, so the appetizer's always preset on a supper service. They'll put a lid on it, they'll put the dressing on the side, and then it will get packed into the carts. The process is the same for economy class, though the tableware, like the food, is less elaborate. That cart is packed with all the meals inside. It has a label tag. It says what flight number it is, what destination and what meal service it should be. This helps cabin crew identify the contents of the carts without opening them. Anthony clarifies, if you open it up, that document there will correspond with what meal goes inside. So here we have porcelain, here we have the glassware, and then that will correspond then with the meal types that come in from the meal packing side. These carts are then taken by another elevator and loaded onto flights, usually within an hour before takeoff. Time-sensitive operations. Every team throughout this process must move extremely fast, as all the food must be cooked, assembled, and consumed in flight within 72 hours. So we never want to exceed 72 hours in terms of food processing. If the team surpasses the time limit by even an hour, they violate food safety requirements and cannot serve those meals. Anthony confirms, this meal will be on a plane tonight. Tonight, okay. So this production probably occurred yesterday. It all moves so quickly because, ultimately, they have a flight to catch. You can't miss the plane.